Hello, everybody. Adam Parks here with another episode of Receivables Roundtable. Today, I'm here with my good friend, colleague, and the new president of the Receivables Management Association International, Mr. Brett Soldevila. How you doing today, Brett?
Doing great. How are you, Adam?
I can't complain. Life is good. I've been very lucky to know you throughout your time on the board, and even before that. For anybody who's not as lucky as me to be one of your friends, could you tell everyone a little bit about yourself and how you got to the seat you're in today?
Yeah, sure. First, thanks for having me again. Appreciate the invite back. Currently, I serve as Chief Compliance Officer for Security Credit Services. I've been with the company for, since 2012. Prior to joining this industry, I worked in public accounting and internal audit. Security Credit is a debt buyer that operates nationally. The company was founded in 2003. We're headquartered in Oxford, Mississippi, and have an office in Atlanta, Georgia.
Well, very well-known organization around the space. I can't imagine there's a lot of people watching my podcast that would not be familiar with SCS. So, as we kind of talk about different things here, I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about the Receivables Management Association International, the RMAI, and kind of your role with that, right? So now you're stepping into that president role. I'm rolling off the board and will no longer be serving as past president. And it's been very exciting for me to see some great leadership start to form across the association and on that board. And I know leadership development is something that we've always talked about, but now that you're kind of taking the reins of the organization, what do you have to say to the industry on the whole?
Yeah, so I guess I'll start just with kind of the path I took. Shortly after I joined Security Credit, I got involved with RMAI, and of course at the time it was DBA. This was shortly after the certification program was implemented by the DBA. So with a little convincing from our management team, I joined the Standards Committee. So as background, the Standards Committee is responsible for oversight of the certification standards. So whether it was implementing new standards or reviewing current standards to ensure that the standards collectively address the current regulatory environment, which as we know is always ever changing. So after a couple of years on the Standards Committee, I transitioned to the Certification Council. The Certification Council oversees the Standards Committee, as well as the Audit and Admin and Budget Committee, which all tie into the certification program. And I'll say that, until you actually get involved with one of these committees or some of the other various RMAI committees, you really can't appreciate how organized and how well run these committees are. I refer to the certification program as a living program, and that is continually being reviewed and discussed by various committees that I just mentioned. It's made up of a first group of individuals. So based on the contributions of so many people over the years, the certification program has continued to develop and mature. So we're going to see it. It's going to be the 12th version is coming out here in the next month or two. And so after serving on the Certification Council, I was elected to the RMAI board in 2017. It's been a great experience. There's a lot of time and effort required, but it's well worth it when you think about the progress we've made for our members over the years. I've had the honor of working with a lot of great people, not only within the board and the staff, but throughout the industry. I don't anticipate the challenges getting any easier in the years ahead, but I'm confident that we'll be successful in our efforts going forward. And that's not just due to the leadership at the top. We as an association are successful due to the contributions by all of our members, whether that's in the form of volunteering on committees or donating to the legislative fund. Really, the membership as a whole working in unison is what makes this association so successful.
Agreed. I think that the community of RMAI is what has always drawn me to it. And I know when I was first being kind of recruited to join the board by previous board members, that was a big thing for me, is they were like, come join the community, right? Come participate. Like, you're here, you go to annual conference, you go to the summit, that's great, you're interacting with people, but like, until you start actually getting into the dirt and working with people, you really get to build some great relationships with potentially competitors, potentially new clients or whatever, but it's that actual engagement in the committees of accomplishing something, whether that's outbound phone calls on the membership committee and, trying to recruit or retain the membership, right? Or whether that's, talking to people about articles for the magazine, or it's talking about webinars for the educational committee or sessions for one of the conferences. I mean, there's so many different ways to get involved across the association that it really is up to each individual person to make the most of it, such as anything in life, right? You get out of life what you put into it. And I think the same is true for our association.
Absolutely.
So, from your perspective, right, what do you see kind of coming up? Like, what are some of your big initiatives that you'd like to focus on in 2024?
Yeah. So, we just talked about the certification. So we'll start with that. The certification program, it's getting what I would refer to as a fairly significant upgrade in 2024.
Hmm.
Of course, at the time of this discussion, it's not public yet, but the association is retaining a reputable third-party organization to partner with the program,
Hmm.
really in an effort to provide an additional layer of validation to the program itself, also to serve as an independent party in the audit and remediation process of the certification program. So, more to come at the conference about that
Yeah,
piece.
this will be seen post conference, so it'll already be public knowledge when this goes live. It's okay.
uh, but yeah, also on the certification, as of looking ahead, as of January of 2025,
Hmm.
all debt buyers that are members of the RMAI will need to be certified. So in the past, there was an exception for companies not actively purchasing inventory, but we felt that this was the right move, as it not only promotes the right and necessary step forward, but it also helps position these companies to better, or I guess, to be better equipped for the various
Hmm.
challenges and requirements that the industry is faced with. The program also assists companies in streamlining operational processes. And when it comes to enhancements in compliance, efficiencies built within your operations, it's really difficult to quantify these benefits, as a large portion of
Hmm.
what um, the certification program provides companies is based on prevention and preparation for the many challenges we face. Um, I think that most in our industry, especially those that are in compliance and audit roles, can agree it's really difficult to put a number on what savings can be provided to a company by putting these controls in place. But in our environment, it's a necessity. Not only does the certification address the various requirements companies must abide by, but it also promotes consumer best practices. Another area will be advocacy. This will continue to be extremely important given the state and federal challenges that really only increase year over year in our industry. All in, we have approximately 50 individuals that represent our state legislative committee,
Hmm.
which meets monthly to discuss legislation that could impact our industry. We work closely with consultants and lobbyists in these efforts. And we also have a federal committee which meets on a regular basis. So we build relationships with government officials and politicians on both sides of the aisle in DC. In many cases, the meetings we have with these individuals are meant to be proactive and intended to educate those that are not as familiar with our industry on how essential this industry is to the credit ecosystem as a whole. And of course, as you know, in order to fight some of these legislative battles, it takes contributions from our members.
Hmm.
And our members have been very generous. So we're very grateful for their willingness to contribute. It's extremely important and necessary that we continue to contribute to these efforts, as without their intervention, our intervention, some proposed laws that we've come across would essentially shut down certain forms of collection activity.
Hmm.
Um, Another item would be ensuring representation for all members. So, just as we rebranded the association from the DBA to the RMAI years ago, given how our member base has continued to diversify with all types of industry participants, it's important that we continue to make sure that we have a representative base from top to bottom. That's one reason we decided this year to dedicate a law firm seat to the board of directors. And we also want to make sure that the thoughts and concerns from the newer and or younger generation is heard. We've
Hmm.
invited some of those members to board meetings to get their thoughts. So we'll continue to focus on that generation and be receptive to the various member bases.
And the
Um,
affiliate council you have now too. So not only did you add to the board of directors with so now there's the agency and the law firm seats,
mhm.
but the affiliates have their own voice now within the affiliate council and the ability to interact with the board and the association.
Yeah, no, good point. That's something we also, talked about this past year and put in place. So I think it's just one additional step or one additional benefit we provide to our members, given how many different types of groups we have in our association.
Mhm.
And one other item, would be this year is the transitional year. We'll be bringing on a
Mhm.
new executive director sometime after the annual conference. We formed a search committee, retained a search firm earlier in this or in 2023, and we implemented a very thorough search process to ensure we find the best candidate. I think fortunately, we have a great staff. We
Mhm.
have great consultants and leadership in place. So I'm confident that this transition will be as seamless as possible. Um, you know, Jan's been a great leader, great friend of many in the industry. Of course, we wish her well in
Sure.
her retirement. So we intend to continue to build on some of those initiatives and visions that she helped create throughout her tenure.
And we really do have, I mean, RMAI has got a phenomenal staff, and our ability to work with that staff. And if you want to get to know that staff, I highly suggest participating in one of the committees, because that's where you have an opportunity to really get to know these people and have a day-to-day interaction with them. Maybe not day-to-day, more like month to month.
Yeah.
Right at the committee level, you're not really jumping into that level of commitment that quick. So I guess, one of the other things that we've talked a lot about is leadership, right? And kind of where leadership development and finding that next generation. What are your thoughts on kind of the next generation of leadership coming into the industry?
As I mentioned, I mean, that's one thing that we want to look at as a board, as an association, is to try to create more avenues for that whether it's the younger generation or just the people that maybe
Mhm.
haven't had the opportunity or don't know how to get involved to take that first step. Um, we mentioned there's a number of different committees that the association has. So, the first step is just getting involved, coming to the events, talking with people. We have pretty much an open door policy, so we're very open to talking and meeting with new people. So something I think that for me personally, I want this next generation or those members that have not had the chance to get involved to step forward and get involved. So that's something we'll continue to look in to create different avenues, different ways to get I guess be receptive to those people and get them into the door and have conversations with us.
It's very exciting. I mean, it's been my experience that there's no limitation to interacting with the RMAI board. Meaning, if you walk up to somebody and ask them a question, they're going to answer it. They're going to engage you in a discussion, because most of us are just passionate professionals, right? And we're donating our time, and we're always looking for that next generation of leadership. So if you're unsure, or you don't know what that path is, talk to a board member. Like, every single one of them is going to provide you with some sort of insight or direction, or let you in on their experiences and kind of how they got there. So I know, Brett, from your perspective, I mean, you did all the things working your way up. You came from the certification side. I kind of came from the other side. I got recruited when it was time to rebrand, because they needed, right, some expertise from
Yep.
the brand perspective and marketing and communications. And so I think that there's a lot of different things that individuals can add to the process. I believe you're our first CPA on the board, and that was always, you always had an interesting perspective from where I sat, because you just kind of looked at things a little bit differently, right? It was more numbers and finance than it was just operations.
Yeah, yeah, and it's and let's talk about compliance or audit capacity. If you're in that type of role, you're not on the phone every day buying and selling, talking to people throughout the industry. So, especially for those that have different roles where they don't really know other people in the industry or the association, again, for me, just getting involved in the committee, going to an event, there's so many genuine, sharp people in this industry and within this association that just love to have conversations with you. So it's, I think, just making an appearance at some of the events that we have throughout the year and just talking to people about it, because there's so many people that are on committees. It doesn't have to be just the board.
Hmm. True.
Just figure out ways to get on committee, see what interests you, and look, we love the participation. again, I mean, that's what makes our association successful. It's not just, hey, we've got great staff or a board or tone at the top. I mean, it's everyone in our association that's contributing in some way, whether that's,
Mhm.
through contributions to the ledge fund or serving on these committees. That's why it works so well. I mean, there's a number of committees and so many moving parts, but it's an efficient program, and that's one reason we've been so successful, is we work together.
Yeah, and the grassroots understanding of your local areas and being able to share that back to RMAI, I think is something that everybody can kind of bring to the association to help add some value, because we all have expertise in our local communities or connections with local politicians or whatever. But I think it is important for us to always look at that granular aspect, right? That lowest common denominator, and work our way back up. And I think that's been a very successful avenue for RMAI on the whole. I know we did the grassroots presentations that we had done a couple of years ago during the regional event in Atlanta, and it feels like that kind of picked up a little bit of steam. And the education side of things has really moved away from just the compliance aspects and started talking about how to operationalize a lot of things. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of that throughout the year, right? Like the actual tangible, how can we take this information and use it? And I feel like the
Mm-hmm.
association has done an incredible job over the last couple of years from an education standpoint, kind of moving more in that solutions direction.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's unique in a way in that, we're not doing the same thing year over year. We're looking at different ways to to benefit our membership, to grow the
Mhm.
association. And you mentioned, whether some of these events that we have, educational sessions or these grassroots efforts that we have in different states throughout each year. We're looking at different ways to um, to benefit our member base. And so, as part of our strategic initiatives that we discuss, as a board, we're just trying to be open, hearing from all the members, discussing as a board, discussing with members on, hey, what can we do better? There are different avenues that we can take to make this association, this industry, um, better. So that's what we'll continue to do.
Well, I think you guys are doing a great job at it. I could not be, happier to be leaving the association in such great hands as I move on to kind of the private side of what I do. But it's been an incredible experience for me throughout the years participating in this association. And some, like I would say, most of my best friends are from the industry now, because I've had the opportunity to hang out with so many, like you, in so many different cities on so many different occasions, right? And we've developed these camaraderies and these friendships across the industry that I think transcend the actual doing of business together. And I think that's what RMAI has provided to me through the years, is a community of people that are like-minded, and kind of um, going through a lot of the same things that I'm going through. I mean, how many places can you go and be proud of your job? Like, I'm a debt collector, I'm in receivables management. Like, I'm very proud of
Yeah.
that. And I think RMAI always gave me a place to be proud of
Yeah. It's funny to hear you say you guys, like you're not part of the process. We've worked together for
it.
so many years now, but we definitely appreciate all your leadership over the years. So wish you the best, but don't take off on us.
I'm not going anywhere. Let's not be. I think that's just my host voice coming out, right? Like, you host enough podcasts and you use a lot of third party language. Clearly, I'm not going anywhere. Actually, hopefully, I'll have an opportunity to participate in that affiliate committee next year. Again, because I've really enjoyed working on that and helping to provide a voice to another area of the organization that wants to be heard and has some really good ideas.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point you make, because you see some of the past, whether it's the presidents, past board members, they continue to stay involved, stay on committees, and
Mhm.
engage within the association. So keep it up.
I'm not going anywhere. I'll see you at Summit. I'll see you at all the live events. I'm not going anywhere.
Looking
But it
forward
has
to it.
been, look, it's been a really great run. And there is a difference to being a committee member and being a board member and being the president. So thank you for your service and all of the time and energy that you'll be putting into it this year. I guarantee you it's worth it. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy, and the association needs more good leadership of those people like you that are there for the industry, and just for the industry. Like, you have always been a big proponent of the industry on the whole and helping others. And it's really great to see you take the reins. And I cannot wait to see what's happening in 2024. It was great to see you at the RMAI conference this week. And I look forward to seeing you again at Summit, if not sooner.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Adam. It's been great working with you over the years, and like I'm honored to be in this position. Again, I think it's we work as a team, and that's why I think we'll be successful throughout this year and the years to come. So I'm looking forward to it.
Agreed. And I appreciate your time today. For those of you that are watching, if you have additional questions you'd like to ask Brett or myself, you can leave those in the comments on LinkedIn or YouTube. I don't think he'll be responding to them today because he's got a board meeting to go to. But outside of that, we'll be responding to those sometime early next week. If you have additional topics you'd like to see us discuss, you can leave those in the comments below as well. And maybe I'll be lucky enough to get Brett to come back at least one more time to help me continue to create great content for a great industry. But until next time, Brett, it was great to see you at RMAI. Looking forward to seeing you again.
Great. Thanks so much.
And for everybody watching, thank you so much. We'll see you again soon.